storyline, that third straight year, the Eastern Conference Final against Tampa Bay. Just your immediate thoughts when you found out that would be the matchup.
Yeah, I think just excitement and wish the game would have been the next day. The group has had an excellent week of training. They're looking forward to the opportunity, and obviously to be able to have it here at home, that becomes key. And I think when you look at the season that we've had, it's why we talked about the importance of making sure that we understand every single game matters. And so, we're coming up against a tough opponent, which we know, a well-coached team, but the players are looking forward to it.
Going back to how last season ended, I know you've got some new guys in the locker room, but how much has that been a piece of motivation that you've used this week, or is it something that you all talked about?
I would say at the beginning of the season we talked about it and making sure that we used it as fuel. We haven't spoken about it this week for the most part because I want the focus to be on we have an obstacle in the way this weekend, and we need to do everything we can to run over it. And the messaging has been, this weekend's another opportunity. It's an opportunity to be solid as a group. It's an opportunity to execute a game plan. For me, as you said, it is a different group this year that we have here, and all I can say is I feel really confident in the preparation, and Saturday can't come soon enough.
The two matchups with them so far this year very tight. Obviously, there were some circumstances when you traveled there, and Kyle's injury as well. But what can you take from those two games as you spin it forward to the conference final?
Yeah, I think you can take a lot. I think the performance here at home last time was an excellent performance from us as a group. I think we learned a lot from both games, but really from the game there in Tampa as well. They're two teams that know each other really well, and I think it's ultimately going to come down to the execution of the game plan, and it's always a tight game with them, back and forth, and so I think this weekend will be much of the same.
I heard you say after the game on Saturday, I know you always talk about the environment and things, but did it feel like the fans brought it a little bit more in that game? Is that something you all notice? And as you get to rematch against Tampa Bay, I mean, this is the first conference final that we've had that's open and not capped on fans here at the stadium.
Yeah, I think the minute that we scored the first goal against Pittsburgh, and obviously the chances that we created there early, but the minute we scored the first goal, you could feel it in the stadium. I was really confident that we would get another. The lift that you could tell the players physically could feel from the fans was incredible, and they're going to play a massive role. Like you said, I think when you look at the conference final here a few years ago, and it was capped, and the atmosphere was as best as it could have been given the circumstances. I think they're going to play a massive role, and I think that support is going to be key as the game goes on. I think it's going to be key as players begin to fatigue, and so I think again that puts an emphasis on why the regular season becomes really important.
I know it was a long match against Pittsburgh, and you mentioned a lot of guys getting banged up. Can you provide an update on the health on some of these guys that have incurred injuries?
Yeah, I would say Kyle's not going to play. Manny's feeling a lot better. Brian's had a good week of training, so we're in a position. Cam is still touch and go, so we're in a position where no matter who is on the bench or starting the game, I think it's pretty clear that the group that came on against Pittsburgh did an excellent job to change the game. So no matter who's on the bench this weekend, I'm confident that I can put a player on the field that's going to affect the game. So from a health standpoint, we're getting a little bit healthier, but those decisions won't be made until tomorrow, until we reevaluate with the medical staff.
I think just between Elijah's injury and then his loan this year, I don't want to say people forgot about him, but maybe forgot how capable he can be. But last week he seemed to play a big role off the bench, and he's had his moments this season. Just how have you seen him since he's come back from his loan to Tucson, kind of respond and carve out an inch here?
Well, I think his growth from the beginning of the season to now has been tremendous. He's put in a lot of work. It was he didn't play nearly as much as he would have liked in Tucson. I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call for him. And when he came back, he's been tremendous. He's been tremendous in training. He's affected games positively. And I think the biggest thing that he gives us is the energy that he brings on the field, his quality on the ball. And like him and many others, when their numbers have been called, they've stepped up. And I've been really, really proud of his growth from where he was at the beginning of preseason, coming back from the injury, and to where he is now. It's been tremendous.
And sort of likewise, Sean Tosh, third season on the All-League first team, but he started this year. He was coming off the bench. I mean, how did you see him maybe respond in those situations and have the sort of season that he had?
He's the definition of a true pro. I think at the beginning of the season he understood my decisions, but it made him work even harder. He wasn't someone that's the thing about this club. He's not someone that came out here and sulked. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna prove the manager wrong, and he certainly did that. But again, it's not like I'm not surprised by how he's performing or anything like that. There's a reason everywhere he's been, teams win games. He's a player that I think for us is extremely important to the way that we want to play. And more importantly, his professionalism from day one to where it is now is why he's had the career that he's had up to this point, and why, again, he's ultimately being recognized as one of the best defenders in the league, and he should be.